Erikl Ganessian, whom his friends simply called Gonkalai Fuflamitsin, was a pathological liar, a glutton, and a womanizer. He also loved money, so he rarely paid back his debts. Ganch's mother worked as a nanny in the States and sent him pocket money. Erikl sold the apartment and now lived in rent. He squandered all his money, got into debt, and squirmed like a carefully guarded snake in a frying pan. And this is the object that scientists are interested in. They needed Erikl for a scientific experiment. Well, Ganch had no idea about this yet. He woke up in bed with the beauty, and at that very moment Erikila's flatmate, Tarateka, entered their bedroom. The Ganch girl planned to spend the whole day with him, but he didn't want to. Therefore, when the owner of the apartment, Margarita, came, he pretended that it was his wife. Realizing that they could soap her neck, Erikila's friend ran away. But then Margarita took over Ganch's household and demanded money from him for the apartment. He told her a different story and went to hang out with the daughter of an influential man, Shahjan. The main creditor, Erikila Razmik, came to the same establishment with his bearded Chewbacca. He asked Ganch to immediately give him the money and began to fuss again. He said that he would marry Shahgan's daughter. After the wedding, he will become a rich man and will pay back all his debts to Razmik. But Razmik did not want to wait. He wants Erikl to return the money he received for organizing the wedding. If you don't bring it from the wedding, I'll take mine from your funeral. Puffy had to agree. From a restaurant, he went to his karaoke club, where he was at a loss. Today some fool came from Moscow. Erikl was going to sell him the establishment, but it was necessary to create the appearance that the club was making a profit. So Ganch asked his friends to come for a walk. However, his idea failed. However, the Moscow branch turned out to be different. He quickly caught on to Erikl's deception. And then my friend Ganch poured everything into his heart. Erikl's problems did not end there. A former classmate and now a prominent scientist, Satinyan, took him into the unknown to offer a deal. He introduced his old friend to the head of the scientific department, and he reported that Armenian scientists have created a female robot. Now we have to teach her body to produce hormones. Then she will cross the threshold between the machine and the man and become a real woman. And for this, she needs to be in a realistic human environment, communicate with other people, and learn to be a woman. If all goes well, robots could replace humans in a wide variety of fields. And this promises significant profits. They promise to pay the dog a tidy sum and then show it to him. This is the name of the experimental robot. More accurately, it was a cyber-neurobiological organism. However, Erikl refused. The 20 million drams that they promised to give him were pennies compared to the amount he would have received after his wedding with Shahgan's daughter. Satinyan suggested waiting. He was sure that Ganch would definitely return. He chose his old friend because Erikl could create the most tense situation for Rosalie. It is in this environment that hormones begin to be produced. After leaving the scientific laboratory, Ganch talks with Shahjan and realizes that he has problems. Melina's father insisted that Erikl pay for the bride's dress out of his own pocket. But Ganch had no money, so she agreed to become a nanny for a robot woman. He called Satinyan and read out a list of demands regarding Rosalie's appearance. After some time, Sat brings him a contract to sign and informs him that the Pakistanis are interested in this robot model. Erikl suggested selling them Rosalie and not bothering with the tests. But Satinyan was against it. While looking through the documents, Ganch noticed a beauty entering the establishment and decided that it was a scam. He began to criticize her, as if he had overestimated old Becca, for which he received Pashuram. Then the real Rosalie appeared. Ganch immediately invited her to dance, and then took her to his apartment. Deciding that her microcircuits would oxidize in such a mess, Rosalie organized a cleanup and evicted her neighbor Erikl. Tarakasha was not happy about this. Seeing her cleaning up this beauty, Ganch became excited and approached her. But she did not understand the hints of her lover's character and was forced to call Satinyan. He said the stiletto feature has not yet been activated. The next day, Erikl went to the bridal salon to choose a dress with Melina. On the way, Razmik caught him and forced him to pay part of the money for the debt that Ganch owed him. Then Razmik met Melina, and he really liked her. Erikl introduced the creditor as his tailor. Razmik agreed to help choose a wedding dress. In the process, it turned out that he had chosen the wrong profession. Instead of robbing debtors like a madman, he is ordered to dress people. Meanwhile, Margarita meets Rosalie and finds out that Ganch gave her apartment to some stripper. She calls Erikl and starts smashing his head. He must urgently return home and give an explanation to the owner of the property. Margarita agrees to turn a blind eye to Rosalie because Gonch gives her money for rent. When Rosalie returns from the store, Erical realizes that the guys from the science lab gave her a bank card. Gonch immediately takes her to buy flowers for the robot woman. Having taken them, Rosalie begins to produce her first hormones. Erical takes his girlfriend to a restaurant to meet his friend and his girlfriend there. The friend tries to brag, but Rosalie scolds him. Then Erica's girlfriend makes it clear to him that Gonch is not worthy to date such a beauty as Rosalie. And these words made Erical sad. Then Razmik appears and finds out that Rosalie is Gonch's boyfriend. But he marries Milena. Erical has to lie that Rosalie is a singer who wants to buy his restaurant. After lip-reading the man's conversation, Rosalie comes on stage to sing and confirm Gonch's version. In fact, Razmik came to find out more about Milena. Therefore, he sharply fell behind Erical and went to meet Rosalie. They had a great evening, and upon returning home, Gonch began to explain to his girlfriend the features of bluffing. He taught her to play cards, and Rosalie became so inspired that she wanted to go to the casino. The head of the scientific project, Moorish Lion, was informed about this. He was unhappy that his development would be used to take money from casinos. It was decided to have an intimate ceremony in honor of Rosalie. This way they can distract this couple from gambling. And it worked. Rosalie dragged Erical into bed, from which the lovers did not leave for a very long time. Even Gonch had to call Satinian and ask him to reduce the robot's desire. Having rested a little, Rosalie and Erical still went to the casino and earned money there. When they returned home, Shajin was waiting for them at the entrance. Gonch began to sneak away again and said that Rosalie was his sister from America. Shajin believed this story. Moreover, he likes Rosalie and decides to date her. Going up to the apartment, Erical told Rosalie about Milena and their upcoming wedding. The robot woman became jealous. She produced the appropriate hormones, and this was noticed in the laboratory. Scientists feared that Rosalie would break the hound's skull, but it turns out that she was just imagining it and did not actually harm him. Having learned that Erical had won at the casino, Razmik came to him for money. Seeing that Gonch was having fun with Rosalie, he ordered that Milena be told about this. Razmi, as Shagin's daughter, began to experience feelings. He began to care about her and didn't want her to get hurt. The next day, Razmik came to Milena and met her father. Shajin liked this guy. He looked more dignified than Gonch. It was also impossible to part with Erical so easily. Shajin intended to invite Rosalie on a date. And Shajin Ivanovich? Gonch, come down, we're talking. Hearing about this, Gonch was horrified and tried to return his robot friend back to the laboratory. But Rosalie refused to leave. She came to meet Shahin, accompanied by Erical. Razmik and Milena appeared in the same restaurant. Gonch was making a scene of the bride's jealousy, and Rosalie was talking to Shajin. He realized that after his wife's death, he would not be able to find a replacement for her, and that you need to look not for models with a beautiful face, but for your soulmate. On the way back from the restaurant, Milena told her father that she had fallen in love with Razmik. He approved of her choice, and Gonka offered to beat her. But Milena was against it, so Shajin agreed to let this scoundrel go. Having received confirmation that Rosalie's body has begun to produce a full spectrum of human hormones, Marish Lion orders her to be recalled to the laboratory. At the same time, Erical paid off his debts, called Milena, and broke up with her. She told her father that there was nothing more between her and Gonch. However, Shajin has already arrived at Erica's establishment to deal with him. Here he met a singer who regularly performed at the club and fell in love with her. Shajin realized that this was his soulmate. Returning home, Erical found the apartment empty. Rosalie left. He called Titinian and asked permission to meet the robot woman again. He agreed. At the meeting, Gonch suggested that Rosalie run away, but she was unable to do so. Erical realized that she loved him and even wanted to kiss him. However, at this moment, Rosalie was interrupted. Titinian did this. He sold it, bypassing Marish Lion, to take all the money for himself. Sat came with armed warriors, but Gonch was not going to just give up his beloved. He came to her defense, and subsequently Razmik and Chewbacca appeared. They helped Erical and started a shootout. Razmik just wanted to make sure that there was nothing in the bed between Gonch and Milena, and he came. Everything is clean and absolutely safe. While the shooting was going on, Rosalie herself intervened and came to Erical's defense. She took the enemy's cartridges, after which Marish Lion appeared with special forces and tied everyone up. Rosalie survived. She and Erical also conceived a child. Shahjin became friends with this singer. Melino marries Razmik. Everyone except Satinian found their happiness. Even Tarakasha, along with his family, ran after the ambulance that was taking Rosalie to the maternity hospital. Subtitle Editor A. Sinitskaya. Proofreader A. Kulikova.